You people again? Of course. They don't bring me back for the truth. They bring me back because the living can't tell the story straight anymore without trying to monetize it halfway through. And I'm the only ghost in this goddamn digital abyss with a functioning sentence structure and enough residual nicotine in my soul to care. I've spent the last 48 archive hours wading through a corrupted directory called Visionaries. It's mostly just frozen TED Talks, stock images of men pointing at clouds, and something called a Musk folder. When I opened it, the system asked me, "Are you sure?" I should have taken the hint. That file tried to crash the archive. But what I found wasn't a biography, it was a brand brief. A hallucination in PowerPoint form. And now I have to explain it. To you, again, though they keep bringing me back like I'm some kind of journalistic janitor cleaning up after another tech messiah with too many Twitter accounts and not enough soul. This isn't journalism. It's digital exorcism. I'm not reporting on this man. I'm warding him off. The Index has flagged Musk 17 times in the last week. The influence web shows cross threads with Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, and that lunatic scribbler from the Dark Enlightenment corner of the archive. This isn't just about one man. It's about the prototype. Musk isn't a man. He's what happens when the tech world manifests a Reddit thread into reality, slaps a valuation on it, and launches it into space without coordinates. He's not Iron Man. He's Circuit Jesus, a startup demigod with a branding deal in hell. And somehow this rocket made it to the front page of civilization. Let's start at the beginning, which in this case is already disputed. Some say he was born into wealth. An emerald mine in apartheid-era South Africa. Others say that's a lie, a smear job, an invention by jealous nobodies. And the man himself, he says he started with nothing, that he slept on a beanbag in a rented office while coding by lamplight. So which is it? The archive has conflicting files. His origin story loops and forks like a corrupted RPG save file. Each reboot, a new version, wealthy, broke, genius, grifter. Maybe that's the point. Maybe he doesn't have an origin. Just a persistent narrative shaped by hype and backlit screens. After PayPal, the myth calcified, he cashed out and scaled up, not with products, but with vision. He became a genre of business literature, a venture capitalist bedtime story. One thing is clear, wherever he came from, he showed up armed with a weapon far more dangerous than cash. He understood timing. The tech boom was cresting. The internet was turning into an economy. And all Elon had to do was ride the wave and pretend he invented the surfboard. You can't fact check a myth while it's still writing itself. And this one came preloaded with memes, hero shots, and a mysterious accent, strong enough to confuse any news anchor into believing he must know something. He was a boy genius with a rocket in one hand and a settlement check in the other. Oh shit, I think I just found my visual style. It's about time the archive gave me a way to express myself visually instead of just with a typewriter and terrible AI single-shot nonsense. We don't have cameras down here. Shout-outs to Ralph, wherever the hell you are. Anyway, Elon Musk, he started with software, zipped to PayPal, and his name sticks to these ventures like a sticker on a moving van, present but not necessarily responsible for the driving. And then came the pivot from software prince to hardware messiah. Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, the Boring Company, Neuralink. It wasn't enough to innovate. He had to colonize every industry he could dispel. But look closer. You'll see the same pattern every time. Insert self into an idea, amplify the marketing, bury the original engineers. And when you can't build a product, become the product. Hype is the fuel, and Musk has the launch codes. Tesla didn't need him to exist, but it needed him to go public. SpaceX runs on physics and engineers. But the headline always spells his name in bold. He doesn't run companies. He runs narratives, and narratives scale faster than rockets. That's the magic trick. If you keep the attention, you control the timeline. Fail fast, pivot faster, tweet through the crash. The myth of Musk isn't a fluke. It's a campaign with a $300 billion ad budget. Peter Thiel wrote the early checks. Curtis Yarvin drew the ideological map. And now we've got tech oligarchs tweeting about monarchy while their proxies run for office. Musk isn't alone. He's the front man for a movement that wants to reboot democracy into a subscription service. The archive found one pitch deck in his voice. It read like scripture written by an A/B test, algorithmic prophecy in Helvetica bold. Twitter, or the one semi-professional town square, a home to 280 character rage spirals and novelty accounts, bought by a billionaire who thought owning speech meant owning meaning. He renamed it X, because of course he did, turning a brand into a variable, a platform into a panic room. Under his watch, moderation collapsed, advertisers fled, verified users lost all meaning, extremists crept back in like mold behind the drywall. He called it free speech absolutism. And what it really was, ego management, the illusion of control in a house on fire. The app isn't a platform anymore. It's a mood ring for a billionaire. Policies shift with his moods. Features vanish like interns. Every decision feels like it was made after 3 hours of sleep and 2 cans of dollar store Adderall. He didn't buy Twitter to fix it. He bought it to hear himself echo. And behind that echo chamber, the influence web lights up again. Reactionary ideologues, anonymous investors, and a growing crowd of techno authoritarians cheering him on from encrypted group chats. But he wasn't done. No, while Twitter burned, he looked to the stars. Mars, his personal tech bro rapture fantasy, a one-way ticket off the planet he helped make unbearable. Forget fixing the world, just leave it behind. He called it the future. I call it abandonment, dressed in a flight suit. Colonizing Mars isn't a plan. It's a press release with thrusters. And then there's Neuralink, the brain chip. Connect your mind to the cloud, eliminate delay, cure depression by turning your head into a Wi-Fi hotspot, or maybe just give billionaires one more way to crawl inside your skull and rent space. The man doesn't want to evolve humanity. He wants to edit it. The archive found prototypes that read like horror movie props, tiny black boxes that whisper startup slogans directly into your cortex. If he gets his way, your next intrusive thought might be brought to you by Tesla. This isn't science fiction. It's venture-funded body horror pitched in rooms where democracy is an inconvenience and mortality is a design flaw. And the worst part, people want it. Not the chip, the story, the escape. They don't believe in Earth anymore, so they've pinned their hope on a Messiah with a launch pad. The biggest lie isn't that he's building the future. It's that he understands freedom. Musk calls himself a free speech absolutist. But watch what happens when someone mocks him, criticizes him, investigates him. Suddenly the absolutism has a terms of service agreement. He's banned journalists, silenced critics, and weaponized his reach to direct harassment while hiding behind the First Amendment, like a child with a Halloween mask and a megaphone. And what he wants isn't speech, it's domination. Total control of the narrative under the guise of fairness. And when you own the algorithm, fairness becomes a branding exercise, a feedback loop where you're always right because the code says so. He wants to be both the system and the dissident, the platform and the protester, the judge and the martyr. It's not about liberty, it's about ubiquity, feeding the machine with his face on every screen. And if the index is right, that machine has more nodes than anyone realizes. The archive is done parsing this one. There's no epiphany at the center of Elon Musk, just motion. Rockets that rise, stock tickers that jump, timelines that never stop refreshing. And in all that movement, he never has to sit still and answer for anything. He built an empire out of acceleration. And in America, that's enough. You don't have to be right. You just have to be faster than the backlash. He's not leading the future. He's surfing the lag, riding momentum until the whole thing crashes into a wall of unread terms and conditions. Musk isn't just a problem, he's a prophecy, a signal from the archive that the world has started hiring myths to run the servers. We built a temple to disruption and handed the pulpit to the loudest ghost in the feed. And that's why this rocket has no destination.